Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. That is to say in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of our Heavenly Father, meaning He is, and that is who the world English calls God. Bahashem, which is to say in the name, Yahweh Shai, which is to say He is our salvation. And that is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, a so-called black man, who, by the way, only came for the Israelites, all right? Now, the first video you saw was a clip of a soldier being brought back here to America from being unalive over there in Iran, all right? Now, the numbers are going to steadily increase, as long as this scuffle or this conflict continues, without any resolution. Okay? And Trump has already said there's going to be casualties, all right? But those casualties won't be of his son, of his nephew, or anyone closely related to him. Because why? They'll never serve in the war that they start, but they would have your loved ones go and fight and to believe that they're fighting for their country. All right. Meanwhile, they just send you a flag, folded and giving you their deepest condolence. Okay. And this is all biblical prophecy, because this war isn't going to escalate into the point where the missiles are coming forward to destroy America until that mark, that charagma, that RFID microchip is made mandatory. But until then, we're just going to hear more and more of rumors of wars until it actually gets started, okay? Now, this is the news article from CNN. It says, no warning, no siren, 6 U.S. service members unalive in Iranian strike that hit makeshift operations center in Kuwait. All right. Now they're saying a lot of places over there aren't safe, including Dubai, Abu Dhabi, all these fancy hotels, because why? They're going to be hitting those as well. All right. So I don't know if they got a travel ban, warning the Americans to, probably rethink their travel accommodations to these places, because those places was once known as the hot spot, especially for Eve, that she would love to go over there, and pose with a little duck face, taking her Instagram pictures over there in Abu Dhabi or Dubai or what have you. Now, hey, those places aren't going to be that safe, okay? And you go over there, you going over there on your own accord, all right? So it says 6 U.S. service members unalive in Iranian strike that hit makeshift operations center in Kuwait. All right. And we just see in the beginning stages of the wars. These are nothing but rumors. All right. It says the first U.S. service members to be unalive in the conflict between the U.S. and Iran were unalive by a direct Iranian strike on a makeshift operations center at a civilian port in Kuwait on Sunday. All right, that was yesterday morning. It says local time, a source familiar with the situation told CNN. The death toll from that event at the Shu'abaya port has since risen to 6. And there's going to be more casualties, all right, because in the attempt of trying to gain natural resources, a lot of Americans are going to lose their lives, man, to go and fight for a country that doesn't give a damn about them, okay? Never have, never will, all right? And this is what you're going to come home to. Well, once the war really pops off, they ain't going to have nowhere to come home to anyway, because why? America's going to be destroyed as well. So it says, the death toll from that event at the Shu'abaya port has since risen to 6. U.S. Central Command announced on Monday afternoon after the remains of 2 additional service members were recovered. Early Monday, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said that the strike that unalive the service members hit a tactical operations center that was fortified. But there was one projectile that made it through air defense. CNN previously reported the event was a suspected drone strike. And these Iranians, man, they got the technology to infiltrate these so-called quote-unquote defense systems, especially the ones that are, protecting Israel, like the Iron Dome, or what's the other one called? The sling, the David sling. They got missiles that can penetrate that. All right. So we're gonna see, where this escalates and goes to. All right. Is it going to die down for a little while to let the mayhem and madness contest to what we see over here in America, that they're saying sleeper cells may start to soon awake to bring forth that chaos, so that what? So that they can be justified in bringing in the mark of the beast? So we just have to be patient and continue to wait for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai to do what it is that he's doing, setting all these pieces into place. There's going to be mass casualties. All right. This is why we're telling our people, get right with the Lord while you still can, while he still may be found through his servants, his prophets, because it's going to come a time when all hell is going to break loose and you ain't going to have no way to know exactly what you need to be doing or what you should have been doing. All right. So now is the time to get right. All right. So let's go ahead and let's get a couple of precepts. All right, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 24 and verse 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars." This is the stage that we in. All right, right now we just hearing wars and rumors of wars. A few casualties. Nevertheless, it hasn't really escalated to the point where there's fear in America, okay? So we're hearing rumors from a distance, from afar off. We're hearing it from over there in Kuwait, over there in Iran. But soon it's coming to touchdown here in Babylon the Great, the United States of America. And when it touchdowns here in America, it's going to be all hands on deck. So it says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars." See? So this is the stage that we're in. We're in the stage of hearing about these wars, but we haven't seen them firsthand here in America. All right. But soon enough, it's going to come on the shores of America. All right. And when it hits here in America, hey, it is what it is. Okay. It says, "See that you be not troubled." See? So we're in the beginning stages. It sounds like a broken record. Every time we bring this out, we tell you this, but it's one step closer. Okay? The vision is for an appointed time, but at the end it shall not lie. Though it tarry. I don't even want to screw it up as much as I already have. So let me read it again. Habakkuk 2 and 3. "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry," because we keep telling you this over and over. It seems like we're a broken record. Like y'all said it last year, y'all said it, but it's coming to time. Everything is appointed time. It says, "Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come." See, the Lord, he's giving you time to get right. It says it will not tarry, because once it's here, once it hits America, Babylon the Great, then it's going to be all out. Things are going to go quick, fast, and in a hurry. All right? It seems like they're moving slow right now. It seems like all the action is over there. But hey, consider yourself blessed that the Lord's giving you time to get right, because it's going to come that time where it's going to hit here in America. All right? And you're going to wake up. Your bank accounts are going to be empty. Communications is going to cease. You ain't going to know what's going on. And it's just going to be here. They're going to say that it's a terrorist attack or EMP or something. The grid has went down. And then you're going to know what it is, okay? Then you're going to know what time we in, all right? So back to Matthew 24 and 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled." See? Because right now, it seems that it seems as if it's afar off. They're just rumors, all right? But soon, they going to come hit America. They going to come hit Babylon the Great, and it ain't going to be no rumors. It's going to be the actual thing then, all right? And ducking up under your desk or going into your bathtub or whatever ain't going to save you from once those missiles start to hit here in America, all right? It says, for all these things must come to pass. See, the rumors is part of the prophecies. All right? The rumors are part of the prophecies. The vision. Okay? Don't think that just because these are rumors that ain't nothing going on behind closed doors. No, the Lord is making moves, man. All right? And you need to get right while you still got time. It goes on to say, but the end is not yet. See? You have to understand the importance, the significance of that microchip being made mandatory. It's already here, but it hasn't been made mandatory. That's what the main prophecy that we're waiting on. For them to make that microchip mandatory, and then the end comes of what? Babylon the Great, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man's rulership. All right? So you got time, but you don't want to keep tarrying. All right? Get right, okay? Because we don't know when it's going to happen, but we know it's going to happen. And we believe strongly that it's going to happen very soon, okay? So let's go to 2nd Ezra 16 in verse 33. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. See? Here it is. We got soldiers, service members that's coming back, wrapped in an American flag. You know, who knows if they got family members? Who knows if they are engaged, okay? But that's going to be the sentiment in that day, okay? A lot of men that's going to go off and fight in this war aren't coming back. And they're not going to have anything to come back to anyways, because why? There's going to be war on the forefront here in America. You're going to have what you call sleeper cells. You're going to have the UN. You're going to have military-aged men coming to fight over here in America. And truth be told, they're already here, okay? They are already here, all right? Just waiting to get that call up to put things into place. So it says, the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. See? So there's going to be war overseas. There's going to be war here at home, all right? And they already got the soldiers already here, all right? They're already here. They're just waiting to get that green light to start putting things into place, man. All right? It says, verse 34, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. See? Here it is. You're going to get caught out there without having no food, especially you going over there in a land that you know nothing of. But let's just say you here in America, all right? And you fighting, you know, the wars that's going on, the sleeper cells, the agents that's already over here, the martial law, the troops, and the UN and everything else. You ain't going to have no food to eat over here, all right? Unless you take that chip. And, hey, they already here. Jeremiah 51 in verse 14. This is the book of Jeremiah. They are already here. They're just waiting to get that call up. Okay? 51 is it? And 14. This is Jeremiah 51 and 14. It reads, Yahweh of hosts have sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. See? So this is verse 12. Let's go up a couple of verses. It says, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes. For Yahweh hath both devised and done that which he speak against the inhabitants of Babylon, which America is Babylon, if you can receive it in the spirit. It says, O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thy end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. See? America, that's going to be its downfall. It wants to put itself always in someone else's business. It coveted after the natural resources, the minerals, the oil of every other country except for its own. And that's what's going to be ultimately its downfall, is that it's going to be spread thin throughout the whole earth, sort of like the Roman Empire was, and it's going to implode from within. It says, verse 14, Yahweh of hosts hath sworn by himself, saying, Surely I will fill thee with men, as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. See? So you got these troops that are over here, you got these sleeper cells that are over here, and once they get that green light, that go ahead, it's gonna be all out war here on the shores of America, Babylon the Great. All right, but see, right now, we're just in that stage where we're just hearing rumors from a distance. All right, I'm trying to think of that precept that says we have heard a rumor. Let me see if I can get that. We have heard a rumor. This is Obadiah 1:1. It says, the vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom. Who is Edom? The so-called white man. It reads, we have heard a rumor from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. See? So there's a rumor that's going to eventually come to what? Fruition, that America is going to be destroyed by the way of thermonuclear fire. It says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. See? So these other nations, they're going to come up against America eventually, and they're going to use their thermonuclear missiles, their capability, and they're going to bend the bow and shoot their arrows over here on American soil. And this is going to be the first time and the last time that America's going to be hit by thermonuclear fire. All right? It says, the pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? See? That's the mindset of Esau, the so-called white man, and his military, because he thinks his military is mighty than any other military in history. And to an extent, it is. But it's not mightier than Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, because why? He gave him the technology. All right? So we're just in the stage of rumors that we're hearing from afar off, because why? We're over here in the Western Hemisphere, and we're hearing about rumors that's happening in the Eastern Hemisphere. But soon, it's coming to our forefront, our homeland, Babylon the Great, America. All right. And if you're not right with the Lord when it comes, then guess what? You're going to be part of the casualties. All right. So let's go ahead and finish up and close out. You know, just speaking on a little bit of what we're hearing and seeing right now. You know, it's kind of getting good, but it may die down for the time being. But still, it had did what it needed to do to spark the interest of what's coming eventually to America, Babylon the Great. So this is 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It reads, be sober, be vigilant. See, understand that although they're just rumors, there's still significance behind those rumors, all right? Because you got people that are putting their lives on the line, and guess what? They getting unalive, man. We seen the clip, okay? Real people. So it says, be sober, be vigilant. Why? Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. If you don't think it's going to come here to America, then you're not going to be prepared and you're going to be taken off. You're going to be taken by surprise. All right. So be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. All right. So with that being said, pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We're almost home. Shalom. Peace.